Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider. I will be your host today, Kevin McDermott. I am here joined by Mr. Ali Wilson and Mr. Jack Hyde. In our first segment today, we are talking all NBA playoffs are upon us. Two playing games happened last night. The Golden State Warriors beat the Memphis Grizzlies in an absolute throbbing. Jimmy Butler with a huge 38 points to get him over the hump. I mean, considering how old and how veteran this team is, could this be the last run for this Warriors dynasty, Ali?
In my opinion, I feel like the Warriors, they've been up to a good start since the Jimmy Butler trade. They recorded a 23-8 record since the trade. So I feel like, that it could help them this year. But in terms of age and stuff, Curry's getting older, Jimmy Butler's getting older, and the toll on their bodies, I feel like, this could be the last run for them to make something big happen.
For sure. No doubt about that. And with Curry, reaching those late stages in his career, some are considering him the greatest of all time in terms of point guard. Jack, how do you think this playoffs will fare for his legacy going forward?
I think it's going to say it all. I mean, like you said, this could potentially be one of his sooner final runs in, NBA, in the NBA playoffs. And I think, he's shown time and time again, with his performances that he is one of the best guards and one of the best shooters of all time also. So I don't see any way how it will affect his legacy besides in a positive way. But win or lose, it doesn't matter. I still think he's going to be going down as one of the greatest. And, I just think he's just one of those standout players in our league that has been just so dominant the past, 5 to 10 years.
Moving forward to the Eastern Conference, the Orlando Magic take down the Atlanta Hawks in a 120-95 absolute decimation of the Atlanta Hawks. Cole Anthony scoring 26 points in 20 minutes, absolutely just wiping the floor with this team. Is this youthful core enough to make some noise in the playoffs, Ali?
Well, the Magic this season have been on a tear. You see, they made it to playoffs. Well, they made it to the play-in tournament. Against a lot of odds. You got Cole Anthony coming off the bench, scoring a lot. And you got people that want to work hard for this organization. But, I feel with this last game with the Atlanta Hawks and the Magic, with Trae Young, he got ejected late in the game, and it could have turned the ties. But we seen that they didn't let that stop them from doing what they was already doing, continue the momentum. So, this young squad could make it far. We just got to see.
So with those playing games concluding last night, the Magic will face the number 2 seed Boston Celtics and defending champions, while the Warriors will take on another youthful team in the Houston Rockets. Moving on to tonight, we have 2 more playing games to get through. The 9th seed Miami Heat taking on the 10th seed Chicago Bulls here at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. I mean, what can we expect from this game with Josh Giddey being questionable? Recent updates on that. And Kobe White trying to make a name for himself for this Bulls team. Jack, what do you think? Who do you think comes out on top of this tonight?
Man, it's going to be a close one, honestly. These are 2, rebuilding process teams kind of, I'd say right now. I want to say rebuilding, but, they're just trying to figure out what they need to do. And, you got someone like Josh Giddey, averaging like 21.2 points per game right now. And, it's just those little role players that you need stepping up to, win games like this. It's going to be a big playing game tonight. Kobe White, he, like you said, he's been prowess on, the whole end of the court every time he's been playing. But, you also got people like Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero on the Heat, too, you got to look out for and stuff. They have, had like a duo chemistry for a while now. That Heat team, you could tell that they've really built together. And so, I think it's just going to be a good game. You got to just see what happens.
So let's lean a little more specific into that Miami Heat team. Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, 2 Kentucky guys really carrying the load for this team since the Jimmy Butler trade. Ali, do you think this Heat team will prove like previous Heat teams and just carry that veteran mindset and just it'll carry them throughout the playoffs? Or do you think this Heat team's kind of fizzling out?
I think that because all the experience they gained in the past couple of years making the playoffs, so they're gonna be much better than they have been in the past. And with obviously losing Jimmy Butler is a detrimental loss to the team. But I feel like they have a lot of vets on the team and rookies that can help them. They got depth with the squad, And I feel like the Heat, the GMs, the coaches, they wouldn't have agreed to that trade if they didn't think that they could make it far in the playoffs without Jimmy Butler. I feel like without the distractions that Jimmy causes, the diva Jimmy, as they call him, I feel like, yeah, they could make a strong case, not for the finals, but, make it far.
So themselves within the postseason on numerous occasions, getting to the finals twice in the past in the 2020s. But moving on to the western side of the play-in, the 9th seed Dallas Mavericks going to take on the 10th seed Sacramento Kings. Dallas has been in the headlines all season with the Luka trade, the AD injury, and just almost spiraling out of control. Jack, how do you think this Dallas team can focus in on their goal, and that is to get into the playoffs?
Well, first of all, you got someone like Kyrie Irving on that team who's like your main leader and you're probably your biggest offensive threat. I mean, you're going to need to see a lot out of him, this play-in and tonight. But honestly, I feel like that it's going to be a close one, and I don't know what the outcome could be. The Sacramento Kings, they need to step up. They have De'Aaron Fox right now averaging 33 points in the previous matchup against Dallas. So, who knows? He could go on a hot streak again tonight. And but honestly, we just got to see what happens with Anthony Davis, like you said, being acquired on the Luka trade. They're gonna need to see some stuff out of him because he's definitely a key factor as well.
And just a correction there, De'Aaron Fox was traded to the San Antonio Spurs in the trade deadline. But still, with that said, I mean, this team has a hole that they need to fill with that point guard spot. But Domantas Sabonis has always been an emotional leader, a stable leader. I mean, he is going to be the guy that they turn to. So with that said, I mean, some more updates around the league. Damian Lillard out with a blood clot, will most likely miss either the first round, close to 2 rounds. What can we expect from this Bucks team going forward, Ali?
Well, we've seen Giannis carry the Bucks to a finals before and win. So I feel like, the Damian Lillard injury is going to hurt them for the beginning of the playoffs, but I feel like Giannis is going to keep the momentum going for them, keep the energy up. He's going to continue to be a leader, and he's going to get that team to make also another deep run in the playoffs.
All right, with that said, that is all the time we have for our NBA segment. Up next, we will be covering the NHL, so please stay tuned and don't go anywhere.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider. And please welcome Mr. Thomas Bailey and Cal McTighe for our NHL segment. Gentlemen, the playoffs are upon us. The brackets are set. And with that, the Maple Leafs ahead of the Atlantic Division taking on the first wildcard team with the Senators. Cal, can you give a little insight on that first matchup in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, I mean, the Maple Leafs have been one of the best teams in the league this season. But the running joke is that the Maple Leafs cannot make it out of the first round of the playoffs. Every single year as a Sabres fan, that's what we root for, right? The Maple Leafs, they get eliminated in the first round. Okay, let's just have fun with the rest of the playoffs. They're playing a young Senators team. Again, this Ottawa Senators team, a little shaky throughout the season, but they really ramped it up at the end of the year. The trade deadline, obviously getting Dylan Cousins from the Sabres in exchange for Josh Norris and some other pieces. I think the Maple Leafs are going to advance in this round. I don't see Ottawa being a real threat to them, again, with Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, and so on. I'm definitely going to pick the Maple Leafs in that one.
Yeah, we'll see if this Maple Leafs team can break through. Going down the matchups in the Eastern Conference, the battle for Florida, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Florida Panthers. It can't get any more Florida than that matchup. Thomas, can you give a little more insight on that matchup?
Man, this matchup's going to be very, very fun. And I think, unfortunately, with how the playoff seeding works nowadays compared to the old traditional ways of 1-8, 2-7, 3-6, 4-5 matchups, with the new rule with the divisions playing division teams for second and third, I think this could be an Eastern Conference final matchup very easily this year. I think these are obviously, in my opinion, the two best teams in the conference. I think the winner of this moves on to the Cup final more than likely. I do think that the Lightning are a very, very deep team, but I think that the goaltending in this one's going to really make the impact for these two teams. Sergei Bobrovsky for Florida, Andrei Vasilevsky for the Lightning. I think this one's a very, very close series. Goes to Game 7, but give me the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have more experience in this situation. Go ahead and give me the Lightning to advance.
All right, to round out the Eastern Conference bracket, we got the Washington Capitals taking on the Montreal Canadiens and the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the New Jersey Devils. With that, Ovechkin became the all-time leading points leader in the NHL. Could this be the last run for this absolute great in the sport of hockey, Cal?
Yeah, I think so. Again, the Washington Capitals were supposed to fall off last season, right? We heard all about it. Them and the Penguins, Ovi and Crosby, they are done. All of a sudden, this Washington team has come out, and they have been one of the best teams in hockey all season long. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat in this series. Montreal needs one more point in their last game to clinch a playoff spot. If they lose tonight against Carolina and they don't get an overtime point, Columbus actually has an opportunity. If they win in regulation tomorrow against the Islanders, they could swoop in here. But again, the Canadiens playing a Carolina team that's not fighting for anything. They're already locked in the playoffs. I think Montreal gets it done, and they make the series really interesting. A very, very young Canadiens team. I think the series goes longer than 5 games. A lot of people saying, 5 games, maybe a sweep. I think this one goes all the way to 7, but I do have the Capitals hanging on.
Very good, very, very good predictions indeed. Moving on to the Western Conference, the Winnipeg Jets lock in the Central Division title as the number 1 seed. And they will either face the Blues, Wild, or the Flames in those wild card spots. You know, who can we expect to see out of those 3 teams? And who do you think has the best odds against a number 1 seed like the Jets? Thomas.
I really think the best team odds-wise would be the Minnesota Wild. I think, obviously, an interdivision rival. I think those are always going to be difficult games. Like I said, with the Lightning Panthers series, that rivalry just makes it even more of a series in that kind of situation. However, I do think that with the Minnesota Wild being the most competitive team out of these 3, I still don't see a team going past 6 games in this series, whether it's either one of these 3 teams that are on the list of the Blues, the Flames, or the Wild. I do think that the Winnipeg Jets are a very legit team. And yeah, they've had their playoff woes in recent years. They haven't been able to make it too far, but I think that they're doing enough.
And going down the line, 2 of those 3 teams will make it, and the other team will go on to face the Las Vegas Golden Knights in the other wild card spot. But with that said, let's cover the 2 matchups that are locked in: Stars and the Avalanche, and the Kings and the Oilers. Cal, can you give which matchup are you most excited for out of those 2?
Talent-wise, I'd be looking at the Stars Avalanche, but I want to talk about the Kings and Oilers because, man, Kings fans are going to be salty about this one. The Kings have been eliminated by the Oilers in 2022 and 2023. I think as fans, kind of sick of seeing this matchup, but at the same time, is it the year that the Kings could finally take down the Oilers? Again, the Oilers have Connor McDavid, best player in hockey. Definitely got to tune into those games. And then Leon Draisaitl, who, again, playing with the best player in hockey, still continuously, is up there in the goal column and, gets more goals than him. So I'm very excited to see how that matchup plays out. Again, the Oilers, a little bit quicker of a team. The Kings have been this veteran, gritty team the last couple seasons that find a way to get to the playoffs. But I have the Oilers winning that one, and I do have the Stars knocking off the Avalanche in that series.
Last year, Oilers, Connor McDavid got so close. Game 7, even taking home the Conn Smythe Trophy on the losing team. Absolutely crazy. Thomas, what kind of chip do you think is sitting on Connor McDavid's shoulder going into the playoffs this year?
I think it's a big one. I think that he hears all the conversations that he is the best player in hockey, but a lot of people will discredit him for one reason and one reason alone. He ain't got a ring. And because of that, a lot of people are discrediting Connor McDavid. I still think that he's the best player in the league, regardless of those talks. However, a lot of fans and even media have been saying that maybe he isn't who everyone thinks You have to win in the playoffs. The Toronto Maple Leafs, the Dallas Cowboys, and other sports. These teams are prime examples of what it's like to be good in the regular season, but the postseason really defines you and a team. And because of that, I think Connor McDavid's got a huge chip on his shoulder, and I think he's going to play very well in this postseason. Will it be enough, though, is the other question.
I mean, they call it the Wild Wild West for a reason, and this year's Western Conference NHL playoffs is eyeing up to be that, just that. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this NHL segment. Thomas, Cal, thank you for joining me. We will be right back with an NFL segment, so stay tuned, folks.
You wouldn't do that. So why do you do this? Distracted driving kills an average of 9 people and injures over 1,000 every day in America. Put down your phone. Lives depend on it. Don't drive intoxicated. Don't drive intoxicated. A sobering message from AAA.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
And how's your serve coming along?
Not so good.
I think we should work on it this weekend.
Mom, Amy's birthday bash slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made.
You wouldn't do that. So why do you do this? Distracted driving kills an average of 9 people and injures over 1,000 every day in America. Put down your phone. Lives depend on it. Don't drive intoxicated. Don't drive intoxicated. A sobering message from AAA.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Insider for our NFL segment. I'm here joined by Jake Moss and once again by Mr. Ali Wilson. Gentlemen, the NFL draft is approaching. Next Thursday will be the first round, and we will be having our own live show of the draft here on Buffalo Sports Insider at 7 p.m. So make sure to check that out. Some draft notables to go over here. Jalen Milroe invited in person to the NFL draft. Could that mean, a lot of teams are eyeing him up for a potential top 10 pick? Jake, what do you think his value goes for in this NFL draft?
Yeah, I do think he's one of the more athletic players in the draft, and he provides a certain athleticism that you don't see that often from that position. The only question is whether he's going to play quarterback or not. And I think the root of why they invited him in person is he does have a top 30 visit with the Rams and with the Giants. So there's teams that very clearly have interest in him. It really depends on how high he is on some boards. He's not high on mine, but if a team values a quarterback with that sort of athleticism and they do think he can make these NFL level throws, then he very well could be a first round talent like a Lamar Jackson.
One of the more notable names in the draft is Sanders, even getting his number retired at Colorado this past couple of days. Where can we see this sensation, this icon in sports? Where could we see him end up, Ali?
Well, there's plenty of teams that want to visit with Shedeur to see his energy, to see the type of guy he is, because they already seen how he plays on the field. So I feel like they're trying to get a feel for him. I heard that the Giants, they're in terms of prospects, they looked at him one of the most. Also, Travis Hunter with him. Maybe New Orleans could be a great pick for Shedeur. They got the athletes over there, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, that can balance it out, so he can also have a little rushing impact. And yeah, those are the two teams I think can really be good for him in the next coming season.
So moving down that, the NFL draft is very important because it gives those players that already are in the league, it gives them a sense of what, direction some teams are going. And there are a lot of free agents still available in the pool that, could definitely make some noise coming this year. One of those notables, Aaron Rodgers of the Jets. He's reaching up in father time, but, he still has the mind for the game. Jake, where do you think he ends up for the next season?
I think the only realistic spot for Rodgers left is Pittsburgh. We saw all the other spots get filled up pretty quickly. We saw the shocking Geno Smith trade, so even the Raiders situation, which we thought they would draft to fix, was filled. So the only spot that really needs a quarterback that would want to compete this year, which is what you think you're getting out of Aaron Rodgers, would be Pittsburgh with the addition of Metcalf to play on the other side of Pickens.
Some more offensive names
in the right for free agency. Nick Chubb of the Cleveland Browns coming off an ACL injury that sidelined him pretty much for the whole year up till the last about 5 or 6 games. Amari Cooper, another offensive weapon, reaching up there in age, but still could be very effective. And a little more personal to us here in Buffalo, Rasul Douglas entering the free agency pool. Ali, with that, Nick Chubb, do you think he can reach that level that he was getting to before the injury? Because this stigma with running backs that they just don't have it anymore after 30. What do you think about that?
Well, that stigma, I don't really like that, because we can see running backs like Saquon Barkley tears ACL, and you see the amazing season he just had with becoming the offensive player of the year. And that was just after the ACL injury, the trade, all the controversy going on the outside, things like that, distractions from the outside. He still performed. So I feel like Nick Chubb, he was a phenomenal player before, when he played for the Browns, before the injury. He was just it was a detrimental piece of their offense. I feel like there's a lot of teams that could use a vet like that. They can help their rookie running backs come in if they need, and it can teach them just something different, because he had that factor where he was a problem on the field.
Certainly. And,
the fall offseason is a very, interchanging event. A lot of things go in motion. But those events will start with the NFL draft. Once again, we will be having our own draft show here on Buffalo Sports Insider on draft day, April 24th at 7 p.m. So make sure to check that out. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have left on this NFL segment. Jake, Ali, thank you for coming to the show. And we will be back soon for our WNBA and Masters recap. So stay tuned, folks.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do...
You wouldn't do that. So why do you do this? Distracted driving kills an average of 9 people and injures over 1,000 every day in America. Put down your phone. Lives depend on it. Don't drive intoxicated. Don't drive intoxicated. A sobering message from AAA.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider. My name is Kevin McDermott, here joined by Irie Dorsey. Irie, the WNBA draft was over the weekend, and it is certainly adding a lot more depth into the WNBA. Paige Bueckers taken with the #1 overall pick by the Dallas Wings. Is this a big win for Dallas going forward?
Definitely, this is a really, really big win for Dallas. They want to revamp their program. In 2023, they were doing a decent job. They made it to the second round of playoffs and were 22-18 for their record. But in 2024, last season, they were 9-31. You don't go from like second round in playoffs to 9-31 without there being issues. So they replaced their coach, and now they have Chris Claims. And so with Paige Bueckers being like an unguardable player, being like one of the most efficient players in women's basketball, and winning so many awards, being the Big East 2025 Tournament Most Outstanding Player, and also the 2025 Nancy Lieberman National Point Guard of the Year Award. So like this is going to mean a lot for the Dallas Wings.
So with that, the second pick was the Seattle Storm, and they got their hands on Dominique Malanja, a French superstar in her own right. the first woman to score, the first woman to dunk in an official game in France. I mean, she is just absolutely phenomenal, can just play the game in all different types of aspects. How do you think she will contribute to this Seattle Storm team?
Well, right now she is 19 and she was born in 2025. So I'm not trying to make a comparison, but when I was 15, I wasn't doing anything professionally. She started playing when she was 15 years old. So she's turning 20 in November, so it will be almost like 5 years of professional basketball. And a lot of people are worried that her inexperience with the NCAA will affect her, saying that those college years will refine people. But she's gotten professional experience that not a lot of other women in the draft have received and have gotten. And also going to college, playing for a college team isn't a bona fide success story. We know a lot of players in the WNBA and NBA who went straight from high school, including, I don't know, I think this is your favorite player, the GOAT. So her going straight into this situation, the WNBA, isn't really a red flag for me. She has the experience, she has the talent, and so this 6'6" queen is gonna dominate.
Yes, certainly. This draft class adds more star power to what the WNBA is building with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, numerous other players. Well, we're going to segue into another big sporting event that happened over the weekend, the Masters. Rory McIlroy completes the Grand Slam, won all 4 majors this year, 6th player of all time. John, where do you think this puts him in the all-time discussion of golf?
If it was up to me, I'd say he's probably got to be in the top 10 now. He's one of 6 players to ever do it. He's the only active one other than Tiger Woods, even though he's basically inactive and he's done for the year. So I mean, he's one of 6. He's got 5 majors. He's won all 4. He's won the Grand Slam. I think he solidified himself with this one. I think there was a big monkey on his back to get this one out of the way. And I think he's for sure a top 10 golfer of all time with this one. And the best after Tiger Woods that we've seen, for sure.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Scotty Scheffler, another guy of notice, coming off from a hand injury in the Masters, placed 4th in the Masters. I mean, this is a guy who has certainly been at the top of his game for the past couple of years. Where does he go with the RBC heritage this weekend, and how will finishing 4th in the Masters kind of go forward for his mindset?
Yeah, I think for this weekend coming up, I think this is big for him. He's been playing better recently. He started out, he had a hand injury to start out the season, and this is going to be his 8th event of the year. He's basically just gotten better as the season has gone along. Last year, he was real dominant, and he's still looking for his first win. So I think he should at least, if not win, at least be in the mix. And I think he's definitely looking to get a big win here on Hilton Head Island this weekend.
Very well said. Very well said. Well, folks, that is all the time we have today. Check out Buffalo Sports Insider on Instagram, Twitter, and check out our website at buffalosportsinsider.com. I am Kevin McDermott, here joined by Irie Dorsey and John Lascala. Guys, thank you for being on the show, and thank you to all our other players in this show. We will see you next week.
I feel like there's so many French basketball